As we're going live. Do, do, do. It's thinking today. All right, we're live.
Hello, welcome to StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as Jay Nitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 439. Hello, hello.
Hello.
We got to see each other this weekend, so that's nice. I feel a little less like, oh, I need to catch up with what's been going on with Amy because we really caught up. In fact, my husband was like, the kids were pinging me, and I was like, I'm sure mom is home, and I wasn't home. I was still at the coffee shop, sitting in the sun, chatting with my friend. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
and
was.
nobody tried to get a hold of me.
Yeah, yeah. We've got some like permissioning going on as far as like certain people being able to leave the house. So there's that. But yeah, super excited. I'm gonna be in the Denver area, although I probably won't be visiting many friends or going yarn shopping tomorrow, heading out tomorrow evening. And we'll be there for a short bit and flying back on Friday. But yeah, super excited for those travels. Still need to like pack very lightly, figure out figure out what's going on there. Tomorrow is our end of the month. Where the heck did April go?
Right.
Free VKN. So if you are a ZKN member, you got that, and I'll make sure to get that posted out in the Discord. Maybe Amy can jump on because I think I will be either at the airport or in route to where I'm staying to my brother's house tomorrow evening as that kicks off. Um, but yeah, whoo, time it is a flying. I know that's a sentiment that we often share here, but
Yes, for sure. Um, yeah, it was a nice chat. I felt like I was properly sunned. Like I was actually like a little bit tired. I was like, why am I tired? And I think it's because I sat in the sun for so
it
long.
was a
But
very typical like spring day in Minnesota because the guy at the coffee shop came and turned the fireplace on. And then by the end, I'm like, oh, could this fireplace be off? Like it's definitely warmed up today. So outdoor fireplace, sorry. Gas.
yes, the place was so busy we had to like find a place outside before anybody else was ready to go outside. But before
And
we
then it
left,
became the hot
everybody was
ticket.
outside.
Yeah, literally and figuratively. Yeah. All right. Well, I have a unstereotypical number of Megan whips to
Oh wow.
share. Yeah, I know, right? And then yeah, I don't know if you had any announcements ZK wise. June is soon. We're getting super
Yeah.
excited about it.
Well, I did send out an email. It is asking people to volunteer to lead breakout sessions during the retreat. We had a few respondents already with some great ideas. So, yeah, if you have your talents to share or you have an idea for some people getting together. I shared out on Discord my idea. I want to do a frog pond. So people bring to the class your item that you would like to frog, and then we will jointly frog. And maybe if it's just a little too painful, you can switch with somebody else and they can frog it. um,
That's fair.
yeah. Yep. So I'll try to have a couple winders and nitty knotties available so that we can try to make sure the yarn's in the proper shape to be able to get it relaxed and ready to knit again.
Hmm.
And yeah, so turning a project back into yarn.
Excellent.
So anything like that. And bingo, of course, got submitted again. So if you're excited about bingo, somebody did sign up to lead that again. And yeah, so there's a handful of things out there, and I'm excited to see more come in.
Yes, excellent, excellent. And yeah, I've been working on the shirts. Amy and I are going to get some samples to us to make sure that everything looks top notch before we put it in your hands and or put it in your hands to be able to order. And then we'll go from there. So yeah, super excited about all things ZK as we talked a lot. about items that we can't share here, but I'm super excited about them. Yeah, that's all I got. So I have been trying to kind of tick and tie my plans for our zombie explorers. So
Mhm.
keeping it colorful with a lot of techniques to combine colors is the challenge of the quarter. And yeah, a lot of choices there. So and I had two categories that I needed to backfill in the previous quarter, which were hands and neck. I hadn't gotten to those. I did a ton of body and a ton of head and a ton of feet, but no hands and neck. So
Oh no.
if you haven't started yet, you still can. It's just a project per. So if you're trying to take on perhaps all five or just three of this quarter, that means you'd have to do five in the next 3 months, or I guess a little bit of this month and the next 2 months, which I think is totally doable, especially since we let you have one whip per
Yep.
quarter. So yeah, come join
Wonderful.
us, join the fun, join the fun.
Yes, it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun. We gave out a lot of prizes. A few of them have been claimed. I plan to send out an email with those winners here after we give them a chance to naturally find out, and then we'll go from there.
excellent. All right, tell me about your whips.
So I have the anch is it anchor or ankler? I forget, but
Yeah,
it's a
it's
really
Anchor.
pretty petite knit. It's just a basic yoke tee.
Hmm.
So this is the fingering weight version of the pattern. There's several different versions of the pattern, all with different weights. So
As well
yeah,
as like
so I have,
kids, right? There's like every option.
yes, there's every option of that pattern. And maybe if you're good at math, you can buy one and do the rest, but um, they do give you the option so that you don't have to do the math.
Yeah,
So this is the fingering weight version. I am very close to getting to where I am no longer doing um,
extra.
the texture. So I'm excited to move on to the next bit there, but it is good mindless knitting at the moment because it's just rib, rib, rib.
Yeah,
Um,
you are making tons of progress on that too.
yeah,
It has grown a lot since when I last saw it, and that was just a few days ago.
yeah. So we're gonna, I think there's a little bit of shaping around the underarms, and then I can take the sleeves off, and then it'll be a zoom just a knitting project, which is great. And then yeah, the
Like that is like
yarn.
summer condensed, right? Like that bright yellow color, and it's a summer top, and yeah.
Yeah, so the yarn is this organic cotton. I bought it at Eat Sleep Knit. I have six balls of it, and I'm barely into ball two, and I've made that much progress. So I'll probably have a few left over for some baby items, but it's just an organic cotton. And jury's still out on whether I'm going to like this. Um, it's fine to knit with. It's soft, enjoyable. It just isn't. Um, it's kind of loosey goosey, in the project right now. It doesn't feel like a wool garment where everything's just kind of sprung up in the ribbing. So
Hot take,
jury's still
cotton
out.
is not wool.
Right, right. I'll take it. But I'm suspending judgment because I have not knit with cotton in a very long time. So I just want to give it a go.
How are your hands feeling? You know, a lot of the like working with cotton is that there isn't that elasticity, right? And so it's kind of harder on your hands. But also, like a lot of times when you're working with cotton, you're working with bigger yarn and bigger needles, which is, I
Right.
think, a majority of like the hand strain for me anyway. But
I would agree because this is size fours, I think, or
hmm.
oh no, two and a halves. So
Okay, woo,
it's small. So it's been enjoyable. I haven't noticed any hand pain working with
cool. But yeah, you
it.
worked on it a
have
great deal on set or on Sunday. So,
Yeah. So we
yeah.
have tiny or little boxes from summer, and I haven't gotten on a roll with this because I had to create several swatch starts
Mhm.
to I had to rip it out and go
I see
back to
what
the
you did
drawing board
there.
several times. And I think it's just because it was color work and also just different. I had to go up needles from her suggestion. And she even says she's a very tight knitter in the pattern. So I'm not sure whose this is made for. But I went and in both so that I could get it to work. So either I'm equally
Ooh,
as tight as her because I had to go up a needle size and up a size to get something that I think will fit my foot. Um, and it's looking really wide right now, but that double layer fabric, doesn't look as wide inside as it
yeah.
does outside, right?
Smaller
So,
on the inside. Um, no, those are beautiful colors. Great color selection. And I do feel like anything that has like the almost like the ruler built in has the
mhm.
potential to look really wide.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Um, I was These are 716 colorways. So this one is To Be Fair. And then this was from a witchy knit along or club.
there's some sparkle.
So there's a lot of sparkle in there. And then I can't remember when I bought this bright, obnoxious yellow, but it's leftovers. So, I've used it a couple times before. Uh, and I love that bright, obnoxious yellow. Don't get me wrong.
It's a
It's
nice combo. Yes, great combo.
And that To Be Fair colorway is just knocking my socks off. I'm glad that it's just the accent, so then I can make socks with it after after I do the accents. And then last but not least, I have some progress on my pressed flower socks.
So pretty.
So
You're reminding me of all these socks I want to make, but it's not a category I should be focusing on.
right. Um, so Eat Sleep Knit is doing their quarterly challenge is savory knitting patterns. And so I have a few of those. Uh, but yarn to fit those patterns, this is what I had. So the blue is Lola Bean, Yarn Co., and the red is Kim Knits.
So pretty.
So very pretty.
Hmm.
It's addictive. I forgot how addictive this pattern is, or anything mosaic, but this one especially is super potato chippy. You want to get through the next flower, and on such a small circumference, that happens so quickly. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, another one, another one.
Ah,
So I'm hoping to have
okay.
both socks done by the end of the month, but uh, we'll see after I get the first one done if my mojo uh continues. But yeah. So it's a afterthought heel in the pattern. So
You're well on your way.
yes, I am well on my way. I think I'm only like one flower away from putting the toe on, so I'm excited.
Look at you go.
Okay, and that's it for me. I only have three.
Excellent. Well, so I've got like these huge bags of yarn sitting here. So I did just kind of have them decoratively displayed about every surface on my home. But then when we went abroad, when we traveled, I was worried that Sullivan might accidentally knock one on the ground and then like, get it stuck. Yeah. I was worried about the yarn, don't get me wrong, but mostly worried about the cat. Playing with the yarn, choking on the yarn, coming back in my house just being one big like proverbial tangle of yarn. So I put like the dark colors in our bag from last year. I put the light colors in my bag from France. And I've just been kind of shopping out of that for my Tunisian crochet blanket. So I'm now to the point where I no longer have dreams of a queen sized version. Um, I'm now to the point of like, well, maybe if it's like, my my wingspan. width. Like that might be good, right? Like way
It just
wider than
needs
my
to be
body.
the twin XL that is in dorms, right? It's the
Yes,
taller twin
yeah.
bed.
Yeah, which again, so each one of these is about 5 inches. I'm to like 11 at the widest here. I'll hold that up. But yeah, I did like a many hour end weaving in between my double date sweater that I showed last week on our finished objects that had all kinds of, it was the gradient of
Hmm.
separate colors that I broke after every stripe. This one, I found that it's harder for me to pick up this last stitch if I've woven in the ends
Hmm.
on the kind of active edge, right? So I'm leaving the little ties there, but all of the ends that aren't on an active edge have been woven in. This is actually the wrong side. So I know there are
Hmm.
some people out there who are like, blankets are pretty on the right side, but I don't think it's too bad. It obviously isn't as pretty with some of the multicolors as this one or the other side is. But yeah, just a real kind of scrappy feeling, almost quilter's block of, uh, some of these are, most of these are brand new skeins. Some of them are leftovers from tops that I've made, but all fingering, held double, and just having a lot of fun with alternating the colors here and choosing one out of the bag and adding a square here and there. I definitely like your pressed flower socks get on a roll and then have added like a diagonal. Eventually, when it gets as wide as it is, I'll stop adding here and then start filling in and then make
Hmm.
it longer towards the top. Um, I could keep adding on the side here and get it to the width that I want it to, but um, yeah, I think it's better to do the diagonal. It's like mental
Hmm.
trickery, but it keeps me going anyway. So that has
Nope.
been a lot of fun. Um, it's using a ton of yarn. If again, sea bags full of yarn. And I don't even think even if I did like the extra long twin that I'm even halfway. So
I um I got inspired and made a swatch uh just to see how how much work it would be to make the blanket. My kiddo said fall colors, and I'm
mm,
having trouble nailing down what fall colors means to a guy.
yeah.
So I'm
The
I'm
common
gonna
theme
have
on
to.
mine is blue. It's like
Hmm.
anything that has any sort of shade of blue.
Hmm.
There's a lot of purpley blues and there's a lot of greeny blues in there. Don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
there's a shade of blue in it. And yeah, I just grabbed a 6 millimeter J hook for that and enjoyed the fabric, cast on 20 stitches, and it's 18 rows high. And it's using the joining technique that I learned through Entrelac and Key.
Okay.
So kind of a entrelacy blanket, as it were. Join as
My
you go.
swatch is 30.
Ooh.
So it's a 7 inch block. Um, I'm thinking that might be okay. And it ended up being 20 grams. So get 5 blocks per, I think it could work. But
Yeah,
I'm still on the fence about what yarn to use, and do I want to buy it fresh so that it's not as patchy? I mean, it is, but it isn't, right? Like maybe I could even buy it so that I can make the
the full
long
diagonal.
diagonal
There would be
instead of
less
it
ends
being
to weave
patchy.
in, but there
Yes,
is more like anxiety about whether or not you'll be able to make the full
very true, very true.
which is yeah, the ones that I've made that like I continued, that was my concern, right? Like, am I going to have enough yarn? Am I going to have enough yarn? Um, so yeah, I
Yes.
did go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that if I don't use stash, it's gonna feel like really expensive when they
Yeah,
make an initial
this
order.
one is sneakily expensive, right? Like this is all
Yes.
yarn that's like already been purchased in my mind. I'm not remembering that I'm using 20 fresh skeins that I paid X amount for. See, now you're taking me down that path.
Sorry.
No more. No more. All right. I cast on some split decision mitts. Amy saw the beginning of this. So this is I believe a colorway from it's either Sun Valley or Three Irish Girls. Like they both have this really pretty peacocky sort of and it's leftover from a sweater that I made. I believe it's a Liz Doherty sweater. I can see it. I can't remember the name. But I modded these so that they did not have the thumb gusset. My thought is, again, I'm going to be possibly sending these to coworkers and want them to be able to wear it like without a weird sticky outy thumb as like an arm warmer, or be able to wear it so that your hand is you're getting maximum finger coverage.
Mm.
So by just throwing in a finger or a thumb hole there, I feel like it makes them a little less obviously mitts. So, that was kind of what I'm going for because that's what I was doing with the Musselburgh, right? Like people were having to
They're
figure out
gonna
what
put
they
it
were.
on their sodas and think it's like a
Yeah,
koozie or something.
exactly. It
Yeah.
could be like a wine bottle cover or but yeah, this colorway that I am absolutely loving combined with that peacock color is Winning Friends Through Telepathy by
Mm.
716. Just absolutely love how it's going and how it pops in those stripes. So yeah, other than the throwing the thumb hole in there, other than the gusset, I did do an extra round of stockinette before I bound off, just so that there's a little bit more of the roll at the
Mm.
top. Um, and then I'm hoping to weave in the ends real nice and pretty, so that yeah, I guess you could possibly even wear it like with it folded down. I
Mm.
do like
Mhm.
the way that edge looks with where I carried the yarn. And the join here is kind of pretty. It's almost like a Vickle braid. I don't know if
Mhm.
you're seeing that. Yep, you've made the hat, not the mitts,
I
right?
made the hat. Yeah.
So yeah, I've started my obsession. I now see it, right? It's very fun, all the different directions, all the different combos. And I have much like these bags of fingering, I've got DK weight singles that I was like, you're single ladies, you could be put into split decision mitts. So
Mhm.
just wait for me to lather, rinse, repeat there. It's coming. It's coming. All right. Finally, yesterday I was like, okay, I want to have a top on the needles, possibly for my travels. So it's there'd be continuity. I feel like I can finish these mitts pretty quickly and I don't want to carry a bunch of extra yarn around with me. I had this very pretty, it was from like, I think last year's Magpie Society, very speckly purple. Again, feeling very springy and summery to me. I looked at a ton of patterns. I was looking to combine it with this solid purple. I looked at a ton of patterns and wasn't completely convinced that it could handle the speckle, but decided to go with Time by Rachel Ilsley, which is inspired by Inception and a piece of work that was by Hans Zimmerman, I believe, in Inception. And did so have modded a few things here. On the pattern or on the project pages, the neck looked very wide on everyone. And so rather than casting on and doing ribbing and then figuring out later whether or not I was going to end up, ripping that out and putting it back on, I just provisionally cast on, um, so that I can do much like the love note, where you can like very rapidly increase, or if it seems fine, you can, leave it just as it is. But it gives me a lot more flexibility if I provisionally cast on there. I worked a couple of the color work rows, and because this does have so many dark speckles, like I'll bring up some of the speckles here. The color work was not shining, especially in places where again, you're not seeing it on camera here very well, but like it was getting a little lighter. and it was a single stitch, right? Especially towards the beginning as we're getting into the pattern. So I ripped that part out, and instead of just this, I'm holding this with some heliotrope
Ooh.
leading men fiber arts mohair that makes that motif pop a lot more. So it is getting a little lost in some of the speckling, but this is like the most sparse section of the color work. It gets a little denser, where those purple stitches will be next to each other and they'll really pop out at you. But yeah, the camera does a lot with the high contrast, right? And so you're seeing it probably at its best to the naked eye. Some of these sections are a little, but I'm leaning into it. I'm okay with it. As it was without the mohair in there with the purple, it was not singing. But now I'm feeling very like there's not, in addition to the color popping out more because there's more yarn there and there's more heft. Plus this is a little darker, a little more
Yeah, no,
saturated.
I thought that was brilliant. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's so smart, and like make it more consistent.
Yeah. And so yeah, I think it'll be nice. It kind of reminds me of I did a Andrea Mowry um I why can't I remember? It's like Cherry Fizz is the name of it. And she
Mhm.
specifically wrote it so that you had some fingering weight held with the contrast or some mohair held with the contrast. And it just, yeah, it's just an interesting different texture to it. It's very soft and it'll be very warm again with
Mhm.
those three yarns kind of throughout. But yeah, I'm loving it. Color work is a lot of fun, and I have a lot of speckles in my stash that I have to figure out. Like, okay, am I making just a plain stockinette sweater that makes my soul hurt because it can handle it can handle the speckles, or am I going to do my thing and find a way to make it work? And so I think this is making it work. So been very
Very nice.
purpley lately. Yes, I'm loving the purples as of late. So yep, those are my feels like a lot of whips that are hanging out here around me in my little knitting nest. But yeah, excited to knock out one of the categories and to have some travel knitting here. I don't know, high contrast if it'll get done in time for high contrast, but it's definitely something that I would wear for wear for the event. It gets cold inside with the air conditioning, but
Yep.
the race is on to get it done by the end of April.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I have a lot of things that I'm ready, needle adjacent projects I'm ready to cast on, and I'm just debating when to cast them on, for sure. Just depending on how quickly I can get through them. But I have these three whips that I can focus on, and so that should get me to the end of the month, and then I can zoom on two beautiful projects. I think that I'm gonna
Yeah, a
cast
week
on.
away. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I know. I know. I want to get two socks done. It's gonna be a challenge, but I'm almost there. And it's
I
very
have 100% confidence that you can knock out a pair of socks in a week for sure.
well, if I don't, I'm gonna submit one of them.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, all right. Bye.
Bye, Ufta.
Okay, my